welcome to Love the Lake 2026. This is a tradition that we are continuing in part in honor of Colleen Hickney, who managed to pull this off for decades now. We have slightly less refined dessert options probably than Colleen, but we're happy to continue that tradition as well. As many of you know, the Lake Champlain Basin Program operates out of this Gordon house. And we're a sort of pseudo-governmental organization. We work in partnership with government agencies in New York and Vermont, and then up in Quebec, to help sort of support and then get to do efforts to protect the water quality of our watershed. Water quality, fisheries, wildlife, recreational opportunities, you name it. So the Love the Lake speaker series, Winter series, is a really nice example of some of the outreach that our team is able to do alongside educator professional development, student presentations, classroom programs, drop-in activities at libraries, at fairs, at farmers markets. If you have a chance, I invite you to come visit us at the resource room at Echo up on the second floor. Our staff there would love to keep this conversation going around the lake. I'm pretty new staff, and so for me, it's been really wonderful to just sort of see all the variety of work that this team does. Tonight, I'd like to give a special shout out to other Basin Program staff who have helped to keep this series going, in particular Emma, who made the connection to Graham this evening. And we're delighted to welcome Graham Montague. Graham is a local creator and a UVM PhD student who has captivated audiences with his underwater peeks into Vermont's ponds and lakes. And so we're really thrilled to have you. Thank you for making the trek up. Thank you for bringing a really wonderful virtual audience tonight as well. And I'll turn it over to you.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I just really want to say thank you all to the Lake Champlain Basin Program folks. Like, you guys, this is such a cool thing, and I just feel really honored to kind of kickstart the Love the Lake series. It's just something that's really exciting, and I think it's a really cool series to have such an amazing resource right here in our backyard, and just to show the appreciation for Lake Champlain and its basin. It's just so cool. So yeah, so and also I just want to thank everyone for showing up on the OWL, online, virtually, in person. This is just really sweet to have so many people appreciate Mother Nature and what it has to offer, especially the beauty that we have here in Vermont. So I just feel really honored to be here to talk and showcase the cool things I get to see under the water, especially here in Lake Champlain. Yeah, making the videos and sharing it with other people and having other people get excited. It's just something that it motivates me so much and gives me a lot of hope for humanity. So thank you all for coming, and hopefully this presentation is going to be entertaining. I just have a bunch of cool videos, and hopefully people just want to see the fish videos and hey, Graham. Sorry. But yeah, so I was born in the Cleveland area in Ohio. Really just enjoyed being outside. My family was very outdoorsy, loved being outside. We spent a lot of time with our dogs, fishing the rivers and in the creeks in Ohio. And legend has it, my mom and dad say that my first word was fish. I don't know if that's a true story or not. That's a young Graham in Halloween dressing as an angler. So I've always thought about fish. There's always I just have a really big affinity to fish in the aquatic world, and just always been curious what's underneath the water. So I've gravitated towards that, and from there, it brought me to Baldwin Wallace University. So I got a biology degree at Baldwin Wallace University, around Cleveland, Ohio. actually a really nice smallmouth bass on Lake Erie. I love fishing, love just being outside and seeing fish. But after my degree, I realized that I wanted to do a little traveling around. I moved to Washington State, lived out there, moved to Colorado, did some cool fisheries jobs. And I always thought, I wanted to be a fisheries biologist. I always thought that was a really cool career. I could work outside, catch fish all day, and I think that would be a good way to spend my time in my life. So I ended up going to grad school to get a little bit more experience with fish research, and went to Oklahoma State University. I worked with Dr. Dan Shao. He was my advisor, and the fish that I researched was the flathead catfish. Here's a nice big flathead catfish that was caught in Oklahoma reservoir. But if people don't know the flathead, they're the least gate limited predator, so they fit a bunch of things in their mouth, and they can eat a lot of things. So they're apex predator. And also, people love noodling for them. So I don't know if you all have heard of the act of noodling. It's probably my favorite outdoor activity, to be honest. It's just high adrenaline, sticking your hands in catfish spawning cavities, which is super fun. So a lot of Okies love it. I go back every summer. Not every summer, but I try to get back as much as I can, do some noodling trips, which is fun. So after Oklahoma State, I got my degree in fisheries management. Something like that. People are not sharing the screen.
Don't mind me, Ken.
I will say this is probably a little bit my fault because it's on my computer, but
No. They're all different systems.
noodling is very fun. It's when catfish, part of their life history is they will use a cavity to spawn in and lay their eggs. And the female will go in, the male will go in, they'll fertilize the eggs externally, and then the male will generally stay on top of the eggs and guard them. And then you swim down, however deep the catfish hole is, stick your hand in, they bite it because they're guarding the nest, pull it out, get some good pictures, and then release the fish. It's actually really fun. I don't know the legalities of it in Vermont, but it's pretty popular in Oklahoma. So if you're ever down south.
Don't you bleed a lot?
You can bleed a lot, yeah. The nice thing is if you wear gloves or some kind of like protective thing for your hand, at least it won't tear too much in your hands. But it's very fun. It's a good adrenaline rush, especially if you're a fish lover like myself. But
Sorry, I'm not sure how fucking supposed to be there. I think it should be perfect.
oh, I see. I was
It may be open already behind.
It's good. I'm sorry, I just opened all my extra moves.
I think it is that one that you saw like the second slide.
This one right here,
Yeah.
there it is. Oh.
Thank you for bearing with technical difficulties. It wouldn't be a presentation without some.
Exactly. And yeah, that's kind of the experience to get personally. Okay, so yeah, so I after Oklahoma State, I was lucky enough to get a job with the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation. That's a weird line on there. I don't know why this. I guess it's maybe because it's sharing the screen like that.
No, it's not.
Can people see that online? Is it like a weird? I don't know if that's distracting. It will be distracting when people in person though.
I don't notice the line. It looks good.
You do see the line?
No, I can't. It looks good.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't know why. That's gonna be annoying. Let me see.
Sorry, in a scheme of
We can
things,
handle it.
Yeah. Oh, my clicker's.
we had sweets, so we're good with anything you do.
I really appreciate that, but I will say my clicker's not working. Here, let me see if I can put out of this. Now I'm kind of like actually, I'm stuck now. There you go. Alright, so I'm gonna go like, I'm like, oh, Blake Perry's in the waiting room, my best friend. He's an absolute reasonably being. Alright, so let's see if this is gonna work. Oh, I hope this would be frustrating for me. I'm sorry, I'm kind of like, I hate that green line. I'm so sorry. Now my finger is not.
Pull it down to the bottom of your image. Is it just like an edit box?
Yeah. Mhm. Is anyone else like technically?
It is sharing the whole thing.
It is?
It's not, yeah, so I apologize.
Now my clicker's being
And
weird.
now the clicker's not working still.
Hmm.
Battery's good or you're good?
We just changed the battery.
Yeah, the battery
The
should.
arrow keys on the keyboard work.
No. Kind of like,
You have an Apple? I don't.
yeah, I do.
You might wanna not.
Let me see if I can just like go like this and then like, it might be just because my screen's getting.
I see a little pencil on the bottom left.
Your
I think
annotate
that's an
function.
edit.
Okay, the annotate, what does that mean?
The little
Okay, so-
pencil in Zoom, that's what the pencil is on the side.
Where did I can get that? My annotate. Let's see. I think we're just gonna have to bear, do you know what to do, Bradley?
Can you not advance beyond that?
I could totally, now I can use it, I don't know, I don't know what was happening, but I think we're just gonna have to bear with
We're
the
good.
green line.
Yeah.
As long as, do the people online, they don't see the
They
green
don't see it.
line?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
No, we're sorry.
It's
Thank
kind of,
you.
it's kind of how it is.
Thank you.
Okay, but yeah, so, I had an amazing mentor and boss with the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation, Richard Snow. He's an absolute amazing, productive scientist. Was a really great mentor to me and got me super excited about doing research, and he allowed me to do some really cool things that helped the state and manage fish throughout the state of Oklahoma. After my time there as a biologist, I moved back up north to Ohio and then worked as a biologist in Lake Erie. I really wanted to go back and manage my home waters. That's kind of where I grew up, is Lake Erie. So it was really cool to be on a big Great Lake. But I knew that as much as, you know, my dream job was always to be a fish biologist, I just felt like there was more to research and there was more to do. And I think and I really wanted to get back into academia and pursue a higher level of research. So that brought me to where I'm at now, which is my clicker is not working.
No. On,
Which is
trigger.
frustrating.
Can you advance with
To be honest, it might be my slideshow. Just because it's so
So
big.
big.
Yeah. So what I might do is I might go into like my individual slideshows if I can't get this to go.
I think the other thing we could do is join from another laptop and just,
Yeah.
so that you're not having to screen share
All right.
and use the owl.
Let me try this really quick. Yeah. I think. Oh wait, my intro section right here is what I want. See, why is that not showing? Okay, this is actually where I want to be, so that's cool. So now it brought me to sorry, one last thing. I don't know why it's very strange. We're having problems with this weird box in person, but brought me to the University of Vermont, and now I'm a second year PhD student with the University of Vermont. And my project is looking at the Atlantic salmon in Lake Champlain. And the video that you'll see is actually at Converse Bay. This is at a boat ramp, and a big part of my project is looking at the movement of the Atlantic salmon. And this is me tagging them. So this fish is actually anesthetized, and we have to put transmitters that send out an individual code. So when they swim throughout the lake, we can track their movements and hopefully better manage their populations. Because Atlantic salmon are really popular in Lake Champlain. They're a native fish, and they're really important for the food web too. So we get a better understanding on where they move throughout the lake, the better we can manage them. So that's me suturing them up. Again, this fish is anesthetized, can't feel it. And as soon as we release this fish in a couple minutes, it'll be able to swim around and pick up pick up their movements. But the whole idea with the acoustic telemetry is these fish are tagged. They have an internal transmitter, that tag that we surgically implant. It sends a code that we have receivers positioned throughout the lake. And we actually just had a meeting today, and we have over 100 receivers positioned throughout the lake. So we're tracking different movements of fish, lake sturgeon, whitefish, we've tracked lake trout, and now we're tracking a lot of salmon too. So that's kind of what I'm doing for my PhD. And it's cool because I get kind of both sides of it. I get to research the fish and look at it, in a research standpoint, but I also get a really cool, I get to look into the lake in a non-research sense, and I get to snorkel the lake, and that's what we're here to talk about today is all my snorkeling and how I use the lake recreationally. So I write a lot of papers. Analyze a lot of data, sit at a desk, and a good way for me to debrief from my PhD work is put a wetsuit on and actually get in the lake. And this is me, of course, being goofy underneath the water at Oak Ledge. But I just really find a lot of peace and a lot of flow, like my flow state when I'm underneath the water. So it's just really awesome to get away from everything and just listen to the underwater sounds and be with fish. So I started making videos, just bringing a GoPro along with me, and I just thought it would be a really good way to share like the underwater beauty with others. So I started a YouTube channel probably 3 years ago now, and it just really kind of turned into an amazing community of people that just respect and love nature. And it's just awesome to have so many cool conversations with people that just love the resources. So I feel really blessed to have the channel, but also be able to share the beauty of the underwater world. So that's what I'm going to do today, hopefully, is that we're going to talk about Lake Champlain snorkeling and what you can actually see in the lake. It's a beautiful resource, and there's just so many cool things you can see. This little video right here is an American eel, a yellow perch, and I'll also go to lake trout. It's a night snorkeling event in November. So it's just really cool stuff that you can see. But Lake Champlain is very diverse, and my clicker is not working again. This is very.
Maybe it may be the lag with the videos. I'm so sorry.
It might be, yeah. Because now the other videos are on that. This was kind of my let's see. So it's weird because it's coming up on my screen, but it's not.
Well, we're seeing it now.
Yeah. Videos being weird. All right, well.
They're just really good videos.
Yeah, I know. I uploaded them like really high resolution, so I was kind of worried about this. PowerPoint is definitely maybe not the best platform to do this, but so I split these. Well, I should go back. Lake Champlain is very diverse. It has a lot of different fish species that you can actually go out and see. So 93 fish species in the lake. You can see 78 are natives that are supposed to be here, that've been here, and then 15 are non-native are actually introduced. And the way that I'm going to split this talk is into 5 groups. So it'll be your nearshore prey fish, your nearshore predators, some bottom dwelling fish, deep cold water fish, and then some non-fish encounters that will kind of end up with. And hopefully we can actually get some good footage. But I just want to also thank Lake Champlain Basin Program for putting this PDF out. I am probably the #1 user of this PDF. Everyone, I frequent this like every single day. So a big part is I like having like a life list of the fish that I've seen and what I've not seen. I think it's really cool to go out and try to see the different kind of species, the 93 species in Lake Champlain. So Lake Champlain published an online PDF that shows the different fish that are actually found in the lake. And anyone can go Google this if you look up like Lake Champlain Basin fish species. But it gives their common name, their scientific name, whether they're found in New York, Vermont, Quebec, if they're native to the Lake Champlain Basin, and also if they're found in Lake Champlain. So I'm always looking at this. This is really cool. So say if I really wanted to go out on a freshwater drum, but I didn't know if it was actually native or found in Lake Champlain, you could look at this list and say, yes, they are. And then you can go out and take cool pictures of them and find those fish. So it's a good like living document of what's actually found in the lake, which is, I think, great resources. All right, so this video is going good. This is good. So an important part of the whole snorkeling experience is having the right gear to go out and do it. You can't just have a mask and go out, but it is very cold in the lake. So I brought my snorkeling stuff. I know people are always curious on what I go out and use, and I hope people on the OWL can also see this if they're doing this. But I'll give a quick presentation of what I use. So I'm gonna take the next 15 minutes and actually get in the wetsuit. No, I'm just kidding. So I have a 7mm wetsuit. This is a Henderson wetsuit. I've had this for about 3 years now, and it is my tried and true. I wear this on every single dive. So it doesn't matter if I'm diving in 50-degree water or 75-degree water, I'm putting this on. It just allows me to stay out a little bit longer, keep me nice and warm and comfortable. So wetsuits are great. 7mm is pretty thick. But you can get away maybe with a smaller millimeter size, but the thicker I think the better, especially in Lake Champlain because it gets so cold. So I start with the wetsuit. I guess I go with my mask. I have a Tusa Freedom mask. It's a really great mask, and I love how big the view is, like that you can see so much on it. So I love this mask. It's really great. And I also have a simple snorkel. So like that's like the main things. If you're going bare bone, you just need a mask and snorkel, and you can go see some cool fish. But love these. My next mask, I'm probably gonna get it as like a black mask. This lets in a little bit of light on the sides, and those opaque black masks actually don't. So the next mask will probably get that, but it's really great. And a lot of this stuff, if you're thinking about getting into snorkeling or the underwater world and exploring, the Waterfront Dive Shop in Burlington, right on Maple Street, is absolutely amazing. I got certified, dive certified there, and they dive all the time. They are the experts. They're the pros, and they'll definitely get you fitted on anything you actually need and you're missing. So you go talk to them. Ski, Jonathan, Larry, all those folks are just absolutely amazing at the Waterfront Dive Center. Another thing you'll need, it's really important to get around, is your fins. So I have these nice Scuba Pro fins that are nice and rigid that allow me to propel through the water. It's also a good workout doing the snorkeling. So when I'm snorkeling that day, I'm definitely not working out, which is cool. What's that? Am I missing on the?
You're sharing your screen anyway, but.
I think it would
there
be.
you go. Oh, yeah, yeah.
So if you stand in front, they're gonna be able to see what you're.
But on the out.
The cameras will have where the.
Big so. Anyways, yes, so I have my little fins, and you also maybe want to get some boots too. These are some 7mm boots that you can put on, keep your feet nice and warm. And the last thing, you could also have, if your feet are warm, your head's warm, and your hands are warm, you're doing pretty good. So I also have a hood. You put the hood on, keep your head nice and warm, especially in the colder temperatures. And I have gloves too. So I have these little neoprene gloves that I'll put on when it gets really cold. When it's warm in the summer, you don't really need all the extremity stuff, but it's nice when the water gets a little bit cold. And then what I usually film with is I have a GoPro handler, and I film with a GoPro Hero 13. So it's just an easy GoPro that you can get. It's the newest model. I shoot in 60 frames per second and in linear mode, so it doesn't have that weird fishbowl effect. The footage that you see on the screen right now is all shot in those specs.
And then they can actually see you, so if you want to get in front of.
They can't see. They now can see. Perfect. Okay, cool. So yeah, I was just showing. I guess I was cut off an owl, but I was showing the GoPro that I use, and I also have a macro mini lens. This is a really kind of nifty little thing where you have a housing for your GoPro, and this attaches right on the housing. So if you want to get a cool macro shot, you just flip this on, and then it zooms in on whatever you're actually trying to get an up close shot of. So say if I'm trying to get my hand and I want to look at the different fingerprints of my finger, I can get really close with this macro lens. But if I don't want it and I want to see more of like the zoomed out view, then I can just flip that, and now it just gives me a normal shot, which is super cool. Another thing, I found that night snorkeling can be super productive. You can see a lot of cool fish. So when you're out night snorkeling, you obviously can't go without lights. So I have 2 dive lights that I usually go with. I can even put the light on now. Yeah. And these are really bright lights that illuminate the water and allow me to see a lot of cool fish too. So really love these dive lights. They're super cheap. Get them on Amazon, or you can go to the dive shop and get some. But yeah, I can't talk more highly enough than the Waterfront Diving Center. They're just absolutely phenomenal people, and they'll really help you out. So that's kind of like what I have. But the nice thing about snorkeling compared to like scuba diving is that it's a lot less gear. It's just so easy to hike 2 miles to a lake or wherever you want to get into Lake Champlain and not have to lug around tanks and stuff. You can stay really close to the shore and it's really nice. Another thing that that I'll bring that you probably should have also is a dive flag if you're going so boats could actually see you, so you're not getting run over by any boats or anything like that. But
Doesn't your facial hair interfere with getting a tight fit?
Yeah.
Mask?
yeah, I don't know if it's on my. I usually try to keep clean shaven because I can't really grow a beard, but I have these like this silicone that you can put on the mask that actually prevents the water getting in there. It almost makes more of a perfect seal.
Okay.
But clean shave is the best way to go. But you have a mustache, so you
Right.
might want to look into getting a seal, like a silicone food grade seal on that mask. It helps out a lot. I don't have any with me. I thought I had
Can you
some.
put that on the mask or on my mustache?
You could put it on your mustache, kind of like almost like chapstick. You could also use chapstick actually, and then you put it on the seal of the mask. So if I have a mask, oops, like you want to put it right here in your nose area right here. Yeah, and then I'll put maybe a little bit on my mustache, but yeah, for the most part, the reason why I shave actually probably the most often is because of my seal. Like mustache hair actually does kind of block that seal a little bit, but good question though.
Yeah, well, if I ever try to do it, I want my grandsons to start with it. They're not old enough to shave yet, so I can't.
There we go. Yeah, maybe one day. Yeah, you'll have to. Yeah, the silicone Waterfront Diving Center has it. Like I've gotten some silicone food grade.
Was that on Main Street in Burlington or?
Maple Street. Yeah,
Maple Street?
yeah, right by Perkins Pier. I don't know if they have interesting hours, so you'll just have to check their hours online, but they're just wonderful people.
What's the name of it?
Waterfront Dive Center. And everybody online, Waterfront Dive Center, Maple Street in Burlington, Vermont. It's amazing, amazing group of people. And I've learned a lot from them over the years. So that is kind of my setup, and now we can get into some hopefully beautiful fish videos with the PowerPoint. And don't do this to me, Clicker. Actually, no way. Do like this. I am gonna go to like my individual. So we're gonna start with our nearshore prey species. Everyone can see that. Looks good. Okay, cool. Yeah, so now this is what I really want to present on. And this is these are the stars of the show. This is the stuff that I love seeing. I hope everyone gets to appreciate it. And so many people love seeing it online too. So that's a pumpkin seed on a little bed in the summer. And we're gonna talk about some nearshore prey you can see in Lake Champlain. So the first fish is rock bass. Rock bass are really pretty cute little fish, and they love structure. So their name implies that they'll be in rocks and in interstitial spaces and stuff. So they are native to Lake Champlain, so they're found here. They love rocky shorelines and structure. This specific rock bass that I recorded was on the Lake Champlain Causeway. So the Colchester Causeway, I don't know if everyone's ever biked it. Really cool spot, but rock bass love it because of all of the rocks. They love to hide right in there, so they love structure. You can see that one back in that cove. They're an opportunistic predator, so they'll eat just about anything. A lot of insects, maybe small fish, anything that kind of goes in front of their face, they'll eat. And a cool thing about them, they have those bright, big red eyes. You can see on the rock bass that is in the macro shot, but look at how big that eye is. It's just really cool to see how beautiful their eyes are. All right, moving on to the bluegill. These are super common fish, and they are non-native in Lake Champlain, so they were introduced. I don't know their backstory of how they got here, but they are non-native. They prefer shallow, warm water areas with dense vegetation, so a lot of weed beds. They love weeds. So if you find weeds, you'll a lot of times find bluegill, and they're schooling fish. So they once you find one, you'll also find many, and they're also very curious. So out of all the fish, bluegill are one of the most curious. They'll come up and actually look at you. You have, conversations underwater telepathically with these fish. So they're an insect and zooplankton eater. So insects, think about vegetation. There's a lot of insects that's using the vegetation for habitat. And then also zooplankton too within the water column. So they're eating that. And a cool thing about them is in the springtime throughout the summer, they'll build these circular nests to actually spawn. So they'll lay their eggs there. And then these bluegill are really great at protecting and defending their nests. So if you see the nests, bluegill are spawning there. They're usually along the shallows. But they're, oh my God, I think they're so cool. Another cool characteristic is you'll see on their dorsal fin, this is a good, but you see that black dot on the back dorsal fin. That's a good characteristic of identifying bluegill. All right, onto the yellow perch. Yellow perch, there's a couple bluegill also mixed in here, but the yellow perch are the ones with the vertical stripes. And they are native, Lake Champlain. They like the shallow, mid-depth areas along like weedy edges. If anyone's likes ice fishing, this is a very popular ice fishing fish. If you target around 5 to 20 feet, they really like that area. They're opportunistic predator also. So they'll eat a lot of different kind of prey items like bugs and stuff on the bottom, macroinvertebrates. When they get a little bit larger, they'll start eating bigger fish and shiners and stuff like that. And another cool thing about the reproduction is that while you're snorkeling, and I've seen this a couple times, which is super cool, they'll spawn in the spring, and when they spawn, they have these gelatinous egg ribbons, which are super pretty, and they're like accordion strings of these long strands of eggs, and they're always just really fun to see. It's very alien-like to see their egg strands, which is cool, but super peaceful. This was a spot really near shore. I think this is like 3 feet of water. These are a bunch of juvenile yellow perch that are just super curious about me, and I just kind of sat there for, gosh, it felt like forever just watching them swim by. It was just really... All right, moving on to one of the prettiest fish, I think, in Lake Champlain is the pumpkin seed. So the pumpkin seed is native, unlike the bluegill. So this is the native sunfish. They like shallow, weedy areas similar to sunfish. There's a lot of times when you see the bluegill, you'll see pumpkin seed also. Again, they're an opportunistic predator, so they eat a lot of different kind of prey items. But the cool thing about them is that they have specialized pharyngeal teeth. And what that is they have these teeth in the back of their throat that allow them to crush down shells of snails and mollusks. So these are kind of the mollusks eaters, and what they specialize a lot of times is with they'll eat a lot of mollusks because of those pharyngeal teeth that allows them to break down the shells and get the nutrients inside of the different mollusks and stuff. But they're really pretty. I love their iridescent blues. And again, they're also very curious. They're just really super curious fish. So if you get along a shoreline with a lot of pumpkin seeds, they'll generally come up and try to say hi, which is cool. All right, so that was our nearshore prey items. I broke this up. The reason why I'm doing this like this is because hopefully it allows us to not have lag on the videos. So that was nearshore prey. Now we're gonna go into nearshore predators. And that's a cool picture of a northern pike. So northern pike, one of our big top apex predators, and I saw this one at night at the Colchester Causeway. I enjoy living there. But we'll start with probably one of the most popular sport fish in Lake Champlain, the smallmouth bass. I saw these smallmouth bass this past November while I was snorkeling around the Oak Ledge. Snorkeling in November, you get great water quality. I mean, good water quality, but also good water clarity. These are some of the most curious fish out there. They are even more so than the bluegill or pumpkin seed. they just love coming to say hi. So I always know when I'm swimming in water as a smallmouth, they'll be the first fish to say hi, which is always. They're native and they really like rocky shorelines and structure. They're really associated part like a lot of structure like underwater logs and timber, big rock piles. They love being associated with structure. They're an active predator, so they're always actively searching throughout the water column to try to find their food. And they'll eat a lot of. They really like eating a lot of fish. We are lagging a little bit. That's okay though. They're very curious, like I said, so they really enjoy coming up and saying hi, which is fun. The next is its cousin, the largemouth bass. So largemouth bass, another very popular sport fish. A lot of people growing up fish for largemouth, and they're very popular. A lot of tournaments for largemouth fishing. But unlike the smallmouth, they're not native. So they're not native to Lake Champlain. They love cover, so you can see this fish was actually in Arnold's Bay, a little bit down south. Really bad phytoplankton bloom that day, but they love really dense vegetation and thick cover. And the reason for that is because they're really good ambush predators. So they'll kind of sit and wait and lie for their food to come across and then strike, eat. And they eat a wide variety of stuff from fish to frogs, to really kind of anything that's there in front of them. And they have a really large mouth. A way to distinguish between the largemouth and the smallmouth is you're going to look at where the jaw extends. If it extends past the eye, it's a good way to see it right here. If it extends past the eye, it's a largemouth. If it doesn't extend past the eye, it's a smallmouth. A lot of people get those kind of mixed up, but the easiest way to distinguish them is where the jaw.
So total fish, one bigger than the other?
Yes, I think the world record largemouth bass is larger than the world record smallmouth bass. Typically, largemouth get a little bit bigger, and there's strains down south in like Florida where they're native that they get over 20 pounds. Yeah, but I don't think smallmouth get that big. I could be wrong, but generally largemouth will. All right, cool. So on to the northern pike. This is a really cool fish too. Again, to the ice fishing anglers out there, tip ups are a great way to catch them. It's a great season to go out and catch yourself a pike. Colchester Pond is wonderful if you want to snorkel with pike if you're not in Lake Champlain. But another great place is just any weedy bays are a great place to see them. And they really, for whatever reason, they're really easy to see at night. I think they lower their activity and kind of look more lethargic at night. So you're gonna go see some northern pike and want to try it at night. They are native, like the weedy beds in the marshy bays. All these I saw along the Colchester Causeway. Kind of, a lot of these actually were by Lot Island. So really cool fish. I love seeing them. They're also associated with structure. So a part of their foraging behavior is that they're ambush predators. So they'll lie wait kind of like the largemouth and attack their prey. And a big part of their adaptation before that is having large teeth that they can bite into a lot of the fish or whatever they're eating, and they can hold on to it. But their elongated body combined with their teeth just makes them an apex predator, really good at eating things. The next is probably my favorite footage I've ever gotten, period. Like, this is just something that's so near and dear to my heart. I dream about this moment all the time. Is the bowfin. And I think bowfin are super cool and they're underappreciated. But this specific bowfin is I saw this one night snorkeling in Converse Bay. And I was just going along the shoreline. It was by a boat dock, and it was very quiet. It was a very like sneaky bowfin. It kind of came up out of nowhere. But it doesn't maybe look huge in the video, but this is a massive fish. So that was super exciting, super cool to see their undulating dorsal fin too, the way that they move. It allows them to make micro movements and also back up because of that movements in their dorsal fin, which is super cool. It's a really great shot of the face, but they're native. They love marshes and backwaters, so really shallow areas with thick vegetation is where a lot of times you'll find them. When they spawn, they have these beautiful bright green colors too. which is super cool. They're an opportunistic predator, so like many other species, they'll eat just about anything. A good way to catch them, rod and reel, is just to have a chunk of cut bait. And they really like cut bait for and like fish for eating. And cool thing about them is that they could breathe air. So they have a specialized lung-like swim bladder that allows them to actually breathe air. So it allows them to like live in really low oxygenated waters. A lot of these back marshes and stuff, especially up in the inland sea, up north in like the Missisquoi Bays, you'll find a lot of bowfin that could live and actually breathe air. This is like my favorite moment ever. This is like just as close as me seeing Champ, I think.
Well, some people say that the schools have both been, that people are seeing from the sea champ.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. Just a bunch of both. I would rather see, I think, the schools of bowfin, to be honest. All right, so cool. That was the nearshore predators. We're gonna move on to the next slideshow, which are the bottom dwellers. Yeah, so bottom dwellers, we'll start with our tessellated darters. And these are awesome, cute, beautiful little fish that live near shore. They're really fun and they're found a lot along the shorelines. I think I've seen them throughout pretty much the entire lake, which is super cool. They're native, they like the rocky, sandy area. So a lot of times at North Beach, if you're ever swimming in North Beach trying to cool off in the summer, you bring your snorkel, you'll see a lot of these tessellated darters just right in the sand, which is super exciting. They're a bottom insect hunter, so they're kind of sitting on the bottom like they're a bottom dweller, and they'll kind of just pick out small macroinvertebrates and stuff on the bottom and eat that for their food. They don't have a swim bladder, so that's an adaptation that allows them to stay on the bottom, so they don't stay within the water column. They want to be on the bottom, hopping around, eating food. So it's a cool specialized niche that they have, and they're beautiful. I think they're a really cool fish to see. And they don't get huge, but there's some decent sized ones. Next one is the brown bullhead. Another really cool fish that are native. So they're Ictaluridae. So they're in the catfish family. You can see with the catfish whiskers that they have. They love muddy shallows. You can see them a lot of times at night. So they're a nocturnal fish, meaning that they are most active at night and they want to feed most at night. So I think every time I've snorkeled at night, I see bullhead. And we have quite a few of them, like Champlain. They're a bottom scavenger and forager. So they'll travel along the bottom and eat things, sometimes dead things, but they're sometimes actively feeding also on the bottom. And another cool thing about their whiskers, so they have that cat-like whiskers, the barbels. Those are really highly sensory. It's a highly sensory structure on them that allows them to find their food and feel along the bottom. And it's composed of what's called ampullae lorenzini. It's like a cool, structure. I know, very scientific jargon-y, but it's a cool structure that allows them to feel electrical stimulations and impulses throughout the water. So a lot of catfish have that, but also sharks. They also have ampullae lorenzini, but it's kind of a cool structure. So moving on to our other catfish in the lake, channel catfish, also in the family Ictaluridae. And this was a huge channel catfish. We get really big channel catfish in Lake Champlain. This was, again, the same night that I saw the bowfin, I saw this. So whatever was happening that night, it was just the night of the beasts. But these are native, so they're a native catfish. They prefer deeper channels. They like river mouths of the tributaries along the Vermont side, muddy, sandy bottoms. They're also a bottom feeding opportunist, so they'll eat a lot of the stuff that, like the typical thing when you go out catfishing, you'll do chicken liver or cut bait on the bottom. They'll eat that, but they're also active predators too, so they won't just eat the dead stuff that's decaying. They'll go out and actually search for the food too. Cool thing about them, and also bullhead, is they don't have any scales. So when you feel a catfish and you pull the catfish, they're very smooth and they have a thick slime layer. And that thick slime layer allows them to protect from the external environment, but really cool and they're really smooth. A lot of people think fish are kind of scaly and stuff, but these are just nice and smooth. Really cool, big channel cat though. All right, moving on to one of my favorites, freshwater drum. Again, an underappreciated non-game fish species. I was lucky enough to do a lot of cool drum research in Ohio, and a big part of our project is we were looking at the aging growth of them, and we aged some specimens that are over 50 years old, and in the literature, they could live over 70 years old. So who knows how old some of these specimens are in Lake Champlain, but they're just a really long-lived species, which is super cool. They are native. They love sandy, muddy flats. I've seen them really throughout Lake Champlain, wherever I dive. But the most I've seen is along up north of North Beach, along those rocky shores. They love the rocks there. So you can see a lot of them there. They're a bottom feeder. So if you look at their mouth, it's kind of on the bottom of their face. That means they're kind of going along the bottom in these rocks, just sucking up things on the bottom. That's a good adaptation for them to feed on stuff on the bottom. They love zebra mussels also. They're a big zebra mussel eater. So when you look at the diets of a drum, they'll go around and eat a lot of the invasive zebra mussels, and they're just constantly chowing down on them. They also have specialized pharyngeal teeth, and these pharyngeal teeth allow them to break down the shells to get to the nutrients within the zebra mussels. Another cool thing about drum is where they get their name, and they make a large but a loud croaking drumming sound. And when they're spawning in the spring, when they come up into the rocky shores or the shoals and these steep drop-offs, if you're lucky enough, you can hear the croaking and the drumming so loud from shore, or if you're on a boat. I've yet to hear it, but I've heard some crazy accounts of people just hearing drums going absolutely nuts underneath the water, which would be so cool. But yeah, really cool fish, and I love them. They get pretty cool, and they also get very big. All right, so I think this is gonna be our last one for the bottom dwellers, but this is the model sculpin. They're really phenomenal camouflaged fish. They blend right in. I videoed all of these specimens just right off of Oak Ledge. Oak Ledge is a great place. It's really rocky there. Anytime you find rocks, lots of times you find model sculpin. They are native. They love cold, rockier bottoms, so they do like colder water. They're really good at ambushing insects within the rocks, so they eat a lot of hellgrammites, a lot of macroinvertebrates. I love this one. This one just, I love the face on it. It has like the big mouth. And they're known for their camouflage. A lot of these, if you're not looking close enough, you'll pass right by them. You won't even know they're there. So they do an excellent job of blending into their environment. And really just like, you can barely even see them, but really cool creatures. If you find the rocks, you'll find some of them. So that is our bottom dwellers. Moving on to our next one, which is the deep cold water ones.
And we probably have about 5 more minutes and then some questions. Does that?
Yes, I can zoom these.
You're great. Thank you.
I just
Thank you. I
really
started
cool.
a little late.
I know. I know.
You're good.
Okay, cool. So deep cold water, lake trout. Lake trout are super popular in Lake Champlain. They're really great sport fish. This was nice snorkeling on lake trout when they were spawning and they're coming up close. This one actually has a lure in its eyeball. But a lot of people come fish for them, and they're really popular in Lake Champlain. They are native. Unfortunately, they were extirpated in the 1900s, so the stock that used to be here is completely gone. But we started restocking them. It has an amazing reintroduction, restoration efforts of lake trout. So now we don't even stock them anymore. They're self-sustaining. They have natural reproduction, which is super exciting. They really prefer deep, cold, oxygen-rich water. So a lot of times throughout the year, you won't see these. The best time to see them is in your spring and late fall when they're actually spawning. They spawn in late fall, but you can see them also in the spring. They're coming up and foraging on fish. But in the summer, they like the deeper cold water. And they're also apex predators. They eat alewife smell, top of the food chain type thing. Like I said, their restoration success is just really beautiful. They're all self-sustaining and they reproduce on their own, which is cool. On to the sea lamprey. They're non-native, but they're also maybe accounts of native, so there is a little bit of a discrepancy whether or not that are native or non-native within the Lake Champlain Basin. The adults will then migrate up the streams and the tributaries to actually spawn complete their life cycle. They're parasitic predators. When you see lake trout or any salmonid, a lot of times you'll see the sea lamprey on them. They latch on, and they're a jawless fish. So they don't have a jaw like with any other fish that we saw, but they have a sucking disc to them that allows them to latch on and actually start sucking the fluids and of the fish. You're not going to go out and get bit by a lamprey. It's never happened to me. It's not going to happen. So don't get scared of them. I think they're actually very pretty and elegant. All right, on to the next one. This is also one of my favorites. So bowfin and eel were like my two favorite things I've seen. I love American eels. They have a cool life history, but they are native. A lot of times you find them in the vegetation, and the best times to see them is at night. So I've never seen an eel during the day snorkeling. It's kind of a bummer, but they're more active at night. And I found that if you go to the dense vegetation, like the densely vegetated areas, is the best place to actually see them.
No. It's just too good video.
It's too cool, isn't it? I could watch these all day. To be honest, this is the last one. The last thing I wanted to say is they have a really cool life history. So they spawn in the Sargasso Sea. So they hatch as little baby eels in the Sargasso Sea, all the way in the Atlantic Ocean, go swim thousands of miles to come to Lake Champlain, live here for however many years, 20 plus years, and then swim all the way back out to complete their life cycle in the Sargasso Sea. It's just one of the coolest migrations in life histories that I've ever heard of any species on planet Earth. I just love it. And they're super mysterious. They're just really cool fish. All right, so that's our bottom dwellers. Let's see if I can do this. And then I'm gonna quickly do this. I can do this in like super fast. Everyone I'm sure came here because they want to see Champ. I'm so sorry this wilderness, I didn't see Champ. And I haven't seen Champ yet, but my hopes are high. And you never know. You never know when you're gonna see out, especially in Lake Champlain. Zebra mussels. So these are the non-fish encounters and stuff that are not fish, but are also very cool to see. Zebra mussels are not so cool in the fact that they're non-native and they are invasive. So a lot of the videos that you've probably seen, you see these just covered on a bunch of rocks. They love hard surfaces. They love the underwater structures. So sometimes you see them on boats. They're filter feeders, so they take nutrients and stuff out of the water, and they're constantly filtering the water, so they make it a little bit clearer, but they also alter the food web a lot. So they're not great for the Lake Champlain food web, and you can see it just completely covers so many of these part structures. And another thing too is that they're really sharp. So if you're out just walking without shoes, you might quit. Keep on moving. The leech. I just really wanted to show this because so many people have a bad rap on leeches, but I think they're really beautiful and absolutely elegant swimmers underneath the water. So this is a big leech that I saw. I love the colors of it. There's native species in here, so they're supposed to be here. They love weedy shallows. Anytime you're in the weeds, you're gonna find some leeches. I've had them on my face before. They like anytime I have any exposed their body part, they'll love to go for it. But for the most part, if you are not like trudging up in these crazy backwater weedy shallows, you pretty much won't get any leeches. They're predators and scavengers, but not all of them are vampires. So not every single leech out there is going to go suck your blood. There's only certain species that actually do that, but I think they're really pretty and I think they're fun to find. Next thing is bryozoans. Bryozoans are super cool. We have native species of bryozoans. They love to attach to underwater rocks and plants and sticks. You'll a lot of times find them on fallen trees. They're filter feeders just like zebra mussels, so they take nutrients out of the water. But what these are is a colony of thousands of organisms together in this gelatinous ball. And you'll see these where the really high water quality. So if you have really good water quality and you see these, and you can see these in Lake Champlain, it's actually a good thing to see. So it's super exciting to see these bryozoans. I love seeing them too. And a lot of people are like, oh, they're squishy, or what do they feel like? They're actually a harder mass. It's a harder gelatinous mass, but on the outside of this. So really cool to see. I absolutely love it. I could watch.
What's it related to?
I think they're kind of in their own They're colonial, so they're small, like microscopic organisms all living together. But so this is a cool that just shows a bunch of them. Look, that's like bigger than my head. They're get really big messes. You also see turtles. We have 5 native species in Lake Champlain. They like shallow bays, wetlands, and basking on logs. They're reptiles, so they rely a lot on the external environment to heat themselves up and get energy. But omnivores, so they eat plants, but they also eat fish and wildlife and stuff. Sun powered, like I said, so they rely a lot on the sun. So if you want to see turtles, sometimes you'll be lucky enough to see them underneath the water. But a lot of times you'll just be walking and you see them on logs and stuff. Really quickly, that's a snapping turtle, but that's a painted turtle and they're really pretty. So painted turtles are absolutely beautiful. I love their needs to cut his nails, but really pretty shell and stuff. All right, so the last thing I'll end this, and I'll take some questions. I'm so sorry for rambling, but I'll end with some oxygen curling. I can watch this. This is very pretty. This is some of my favorite footage. A lot of people really appreciate this too on YouTube. A lot of people love watching it, but I just want to end with saying that I think it's super important that we know what's in our backyard. We know what's in these water bodies. We're exposed to it and we get educated by it. And we get to experience it firsthand. And once you start actually knowing something and what it's all about, and you're not like, even with the leeches and the lamprey and all that, you just start to love it. It's just more easy to love. And it's just, you have more of an appreciation for it. And once you actually start loving it more and giving that emotion to it, it's just so much easier to protect it and have the want to protect it. And I think that's where we have to be as far as like wildlife conservation moving forward, is we just have to have more people that love the resource, love using the resource. So we just have more stewards of the land, of the water that we have right here in our backyard, and just have more people that naturally just want to protect it. I think it's such an important thing. So hopefully, one, I showcase the animals and everything and all the fish appropriately. I think they're so beautiful and I'm so happy that they are the stars of the show. But two, I hope it inspires everyone to maybe get outside more, just go for a walk, go for a swim, and just enjoy what's out there and start loving our natural environment and our mother nature, because it's only going to allow us to want to protect it for future generations. And that's what it's all about, is just, I'll talk with, my sister and I have conversation all the time. Like, what else is there besides Mother Nature? I don't know what else. It's all a social construct of things. So I think it's so pretty, and I'm so happy that everyone came. Thank you for allowing me to ramble, and also thank you for dealing with the technical difficulties. But thank you.
Thank you, Graham. I feel like you just encapsulated why we do education and outreach with the Basin program. So thank you. I will note that you did not show any of the pictures of the leeches attached to your face.
Yes.
If
If you want to see that,
but if you want to see that, go
it's on
check out
YouTube,
YouTube
yeah.
or other social media channels.
I'm sure no one wants to see this.
Yeah. So recognizing that some of you, it's 7:30, some of you may want to take off, that's fine. If you're willing, I was gonna open it up for a few questions and a little conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have any, did you mention like sturgeon or carp or some big fish? What?
Yeah, I have not. These are the fish that I have like good footage for. There's so many. There's 93 fish species in the lake. Sturgeon are so cool. I've yet to see one. That's like one of my goals, and I've known some divers that actually are lucky enough to see them. But that is the champ of the lake. Like they're just huge, large, prehistoric, old fish that are so pretty, and I've seen them in person sampling, like with sampling gears, but I've never seen them snorkeling. And that's a huge goal. There also is a lot of carp. So we have common carp in the lake, and we also have tench, which are larger fish. Tench are another non-native.
What is it? Tench?
Tench. It's a carp-looking thing from Europe. They're really pretty. They have a square tail, but that's another fish, that species in the lake that it's kind of large and it is established. So there are other fish species. I just didn't throw them. Love sturgeon though. Yeah.
Yeah, as kids, we would see something we called sheep's head. Is
Yeah.
that the same as the drum or?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's another, just another name for it.
Yeah, that's actually what we call them in Ohio. So like
Oh,
Lake Erie, like people in Lake Erie, they always call them sheep's head.
yeah,
And I think some people get caught, like, I think there's an ocean sheep's head also. And so people are like, oh, is that like an ocean fish? It's like, no, it's just another way to call freshwater shrimp. But they're the same thing, yeah. It's a cool, I guess, nickname. Yeah.
What is the oxygen pearling that you showed us? What's happening there?
Yeah, so for the oxygen pearling, plants photosynthesize even if they're underneath the water. So they're constantly making oxygen. And there was just a high concentration of oxygen directly contributing to the water column, which is super cool. Some people hypothesize when it's really like a lot of pearling like that there's a break in the stem and a lot of the oxygen from the stem kind of leaches through. It's almost like if you have like a puncture of your floaty on the river, like you're gonna see a constant stream of bubbles, and that's what some people hypothesize. But I think, when it's a really sunny day, you'll see a lot of pearling, and you'll see a lot of just oxygen contribute to the water, just great. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Ooh. I don't know if there's any online questions.
We don't have any questions in the chat.
Oh, you're welcome.
People are welcome to chime in or unmute yourself and chime in.
Hi, Mr. Graham. I got a question. My name is JJ. I'm from Ohio. I saw you on the YouTube. I can't swim, but I do love the snorkeling videos. And my first question was, what if you could be any fish, what fish would it be? Of all those fish you've seen. And my second question is, what is your favorite rig to fish with? Because I can stay on the land and fish. I just am not going to be snorkeling. Thank you.
Okay. Oh my God, JJ, nice to hear from you. It's always JJ has also a beautiful YouTube channel. I know him from the YouTube world, but the fish that I would probably be a flathead catfish. I know flathead catfish are not here in Lake Champlain, but the cool thing about flatheads, they get huge. So the world record, I think, is like 130 pounds. So an apex predator. They love to eat too, and I'm a huge foodie. So I would think they have, like I said, least gate limited predators, so they eat just about anything. And that's kind of a similar vibe to me. So I would probably be a flathead catfish. They get really big and they're apex predator. And then you said the favorite fishing rig. What I like fishing with most, probably I don't fish as much nowadays because I do like snorkeling more. But if I'm ever going out fishing, I love fly fishing, and I would probably do a jointed woolly bugger with 2 hooks, and it'd be like an olive streamer. So probably like a 6-inch olive streamer with like a bead head to it. That's probably would be my fishing rig. But if you're trying to fish, I think if anyone's trying to fish, if I'm going into my angling side of Graham, I think the best way to catch anything is with, this is shout out to my dad. My dad taught me this, but as a 1/4 ounce jig head, it's like a white jig head, and then maybe like a 3 or 4 inch twisted tail. And you can catch just about anything, and you can catch a lot of cool things. So that's probably my fishing rig.
Very good.
Thanks, JJ.
I have a very technical, I guess, question. You mentioned you want a new mask that has the black and doesn't let in the light.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, so like when you have this mask, sometimes when you're in a really sunny day or snorkeling along, light will penetrate on like the side and come through this transparent zone. And if this is blacked out, the only thing that you can see is the field, like your field of view. So the only thing, like if I want to just look at whatever I'm looking at forward and not getting any of the peripheral light penetration on my mask, that's why that opaque mask is a lot of like spearfishers that and a lot of divers in the ocean will have. You'll see the opaque masks. But still not bad. I mean, it's not bad to have a transparent. that's really the generally why. I just want to be more focused on what I'm seeing and not get when especially super sunny, get blocked by that peripheral sunlight.
There was one question online that I missed. Graham Sullivan asked, have there been any standout moments while snorkeling at night where you have been spooked by wildlife?
Oh my gosh, yes, there has. I know exactly what this person is talking about, I think, and I love the name of that person. Yeah, so I love, this was not Lake Champlain, so I didn't throw it in the presentation, but snorkeling at night, like I said, is a lot of fun. But I really wanted to go to a wetland at night to see what was there. And actually the wetland that I went to was it's St. Mike's. So right here in Burlington, they have a really cool wetland. I take the dog there all the time. And I was walking one day, I was like, oh, I gotta go check out what's underneath the water there. So I went back at night, and I don't know what my thought process was at night, but I was like, at night's gonna be so much cooler. And I was looking at some kind of shiner, some kind of fish species in there. It was really cool, a bunch of diversity. And a beaver came out of nowhere and absolutely like spooked me so much. I still have nightmares about that. It's seriously, I actually have it on. I could show the video on. I actually have it on my computer. But I don't know. There's probably too much technical difficulties here. But yeah, really scary. If you want to see it, it's probably my most viewed video on YouTube. So in the comments are that was crazy though. Oh my gosh. And no one would think like a beaver would be scary to see, but the way that it came into view was just absolutely incredible.
Was that in the water near his house?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was probably my fault, but I wasn't right on top of the beaver den or anything like that, but I was pretty close. But it came out of nowhere. I could not believe how old it was. So thank you for the question.
It would be fun to see it, but I like the invitation to go and follow Graham
Yes.
on social media, find the YouTube channel, and find the beaver.
Yes,
The
please.
beaver video.
It's so fun. Oh my gosh.
All right. Thank you for your time.